Most seniors are getting too many blood tests and still missing the 3 that matter most. And after 65, that mistake can quietly cost you your energy, your kidneys, and your independence. If you want to stay healthy and independent as you age, hit that subscribe button right now. We share science-backed health tips like this every single day. After years of watching the same pattern over and over, one thing stands out. Many older adults walk into a lab, give several tubes of blood, and leave thinking more testing means better care. But that is not always true. Not more tests, but the right tests. That is what protects you. Here's the promise. By the end of this video, you'll know the only 3 blood tests most seniors should ask about every year, which common blood tests are often overused, and how to talk to your doctor without sounding like you're challenging them. Sound useful? Good. Let's keep going. Now, before we continue, tell me your age and where you're watching from in the comments. This helps us understand who we're helping. Here's what most people get wrong. They think a long lab sheet means a thorough checkup. But a long lab sheet can also mean noise. It can mean extra cost, extra worry, and extra false alarms. Have you ever had a test come back a little off, only to repeat it later and find out it was nothing? That happens more than people realize. A 2021 review highlighted by Harvard Medical School found that about 30% of the 46 most commonly ordered lab tests were probably unnecessary. Think about that for a second. Nearly 1 out of every 3 common lab tests may not change care in any meaningful way. That doesn't mean doctors are careless. It means medicine is complicated, habits build up, and sometimes testing keeps going long after the benefit gets fuzzy. And that matters even more as you get older. Why? Because every extra test can lead to another test. One tiny abnormal number becomes a repeat visit, then a scan, then more stress. It's like pulling one loose thread on a sweater. Sometimes nothing happens. Sometimes the whole thing starts to unravel. Let me be clear. I'm not saying blood tests are bad. I'm saying random blood tests are bad. Targeted blood tests can save lives. And if you only remember one thing from this video, remember this. You do not need the biggest lab panel. You need the smartest one. Number 5, vitamin D every single year. Most people think vitamin D should be checked every year because it's healthy and because low vitamin D sounds scary. But actually, routine vitamin D screening is not recommended for most healthy adults. That surprises a lot of people, doesn't it? A 2024 review from the University of Minnesota discussing the updated Endocrine Society guideline said routine vitamin D blood screening is not recommended for most healthy adults. In plain English, that means many people are testing a number that won't change much about what they should do next. If you get little sun, have osteoporosis, gut problems, kidney disease, or a condition that affects absorption, that's different. But for many seniors, this test gets ordered almost automatically. Think of vitamin D testing like checking the weather every 10 minutes. If your plan is still wear a light jacket and go outside, the extra checking didn't help much. For a lot of people, the basic plan stays the same. Get regular daylight if your doctor says it's safe, eat vitamin D-rich foods, take a simple supplement if your clinician recommends it. Not endless testing, but steady habits. So what can you do? First, ask one calm question. If this vitamin D result is low, what exactly would change? That one question is powerful. Second, look at your daily intake before you look at another lab slip. 3 ounces of salmon can give you roughly 450 to 570 IU of vitamin D. 1 cup of fortified milk usually gives about 120 IU. 1 egg yolk gives around 40 IU. If you are over 70, many general recommendations aim for about 800 IU a day from food, supplements, or both, depending on your situation. And here's the thing. Food plus consistency often beats obsession. Not panic, but pattern. Not constant testing, but sensible support. But wait until you see number 4. Because this next group of tests creates even more confusion. Number 4, big inflammation and hormone panels. Most people think fancy panels sound more advanced. They hear words like inflammation, cortisol, testosterone, thyroid add-ons, and they assume deeper testing means deeper answers. But actually, if you do not have symptoms or a clear reason, these tests can create more fog than light. A lot of these numbers bounce around. They change with sleep, stress, timing, medications, and even a rough week. That makes them easy to overread. And when a test is easy to overread, it can send you down a rabbit hole fast. Have you seen that happen to a friend? One slightly abnormal result, then 3 appointments later, nobody can explain what it really meant. This is where that Harvard Medical School point matters again. If around 30% of common tests may be unnecessary, the answer is not to add more exotic testing just because it sounds modern. The smarter move is to ask what problem the test is meant to solve. If you are tired, losing weight, bruising easily, or having real symptoms, that is different. But testing everything just in case is like opening every kitchen drawer because you lost your car keys. More movement, not more progress. Instead of chasing mystery markers, focus on the basics that calm the body down. 1 cup of plain oatmeal gives about 4 grams of fiber. 1 ounce of walnuts gives about 2.5 grams of plant omega-3 fat. 1 tablespoon of olive oil gives about 14 grams of healthy fat. These are the quiet habits that often help more than a random inflammation test. So the next time someone wants to order a giant panel, say this: which result here would actually change my treatment this month? That question is polite, it is smart, and it protects you from testing that looks impressive but does very little. Quick question, have you experienced unexplained fatigue, dizziness, or muscle cramps lately? Comment yes or no below. Now we get into the 3 tests that usually deserve a front row seat every year. Number 3, the CBC, or complete blood count. Most people think a CBC is just a hospital test or something you only need if you feel very sick. But actually, this is one of the most useful yearly blood tests for older adults because it gives a quick look at your blood's delivery team, defense team, and repair team. Your red blood cells are like delivery trucks, they carry oxygen. Your white blood cells are like security guards, they help fight infection. Your platelets are like a road repair crew, they help stop bleeding and patch damage. If one of those teams is off, your body often tells you in quiet ways first: fatigue, shortness of breath, pale skin, easy bruising, feeling cold, weakness climbing stairs. Sound familiar? A 2024 study in Frontiers in Public Health found that hemoglobin levels in older adults were strongly tied to overall mortality. In simple terms, when the oxygen-carrying part of the blood runs too low, the whole body feels it, your brain feels it, your muscles feel it, your heart feels it. That is why a CBC matters. It can catch anemia, blood loss, infection clues, and platelet problems before they become bigger trouble. So how do you use this test wisely? Ask your doctor to compare this year's CBC with last year's, not just with the lab's normal range. Why? Because your trend matters. If your hemoglobin keeps slipping, even while staying barely inside the normal range, that can still be important. Ask whether your red blood cells are low, whether the size of the cells looks normal, and whether your platelets changed. Then support the numbers with food. 3 ounces of lean beef has about 2.4 milligrams of iron. 1 cup of cooked lentils has about 6.6 milligrams. 4 ounces of salmon has about 2.4 micrograms of vitamin B12. Half a cup of black beans gives around 120 micrograms of folate, which helps build healthy blood cells. And if you eat plant iron, add vitamin C. A half cup of strawberries gives around 45 milligrams of vitamin C and can help your body absorb that iron better. Look, this is not about self-diagnosing from a lab app. It is about using one simple yearly test to spot problems early. Not waiting until you are exhausted, but catching the drift before the crash. But wait until you see number 2, because this next one affects far more seniors than most people think. Number 2, hemoglobin A1c. Most people think blood sugar problems only matter if they already have diabetes, but actually your A1c can start drifting long before you get a diagnosis, and the danger is not just sugar. It is what that sugar does over time to your nerves, eyes, kidneys, heart, and energy. Here's the simple version. A 1C measures how much sugar has been sticking to your red blood cells over about the last 3 months. Think of it like syrup on a pancake. One little drop is not the issue, but if the syrup keeps building up day after day, everything gets harder to clean up. That is what long-term high blood sugar does inside the body. A 2022 study from the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health found that when researchers used the same 2-test approach doctors use in real life, only about 9.5% of the total diabetes burden in the US was truly undiagnosed. That sounds like good news, and in one way it is, but the same report also said undiagnosed diabetes was more common in older adults. So if you are over 65, this is not the number to ignore. This is why A1C belongs on your yearly list. If your A1C is below 5.7%, that is generally considered normal. Between 5.7 and 6.4% usually points to prediabetes. At 6.5% or higher, doctors start thinking diabetes, especially if it is confirmed properly. That one number can tell you whether your daily habits are quietly helping you or quietly hurting you. So what should you do? First, ask for a 1C once a year if you are a senior, and more often if you already have diabetes, prediabetes, or major risk factors. Second, do not wait for a terrible number before changing your routine. Third, pair your result with action you can repeat. Half a cup of dry oats has about 27 grams of carbs, but it also brings fiber that slows the rise. 1 cup of berries has around 15 grams of carbs and more fiber than juice. 3 ounces of chicken gives about 26 grams of protein, which can steady a meal. 1 tablespoon of chia seeds gives around 5 grams of fiber. Small things matter here. A 10-minute walk after a meal matters too. Have you noticed how even a short walk can change how you feel after dinner? Before we go further, if this is making sense so far, hit that like button. It tells me you want more videos like this. And now we get to the one test that may matter most because it speaks for several organs at once. Number 1, the metabolic panel, especially creatinine, eGFR, and electrolytes. Most people think this is just a routine chemistry test with too many strange words. But actually, this panel is like opening the hood of your car. It tells you how the engine is running, how the filter is holding up, and whether the electrical system is stable. Inside this panel are clues about your kidneys, your hydration, your sodium, your potassium, your blood sugar on that day, and often your liver if a full panel is ordered. And after 65, this matters a lot because kidney decline can happen quietly. No pain, no obvious warning, just numbers sliding until one day medications start hitting harder, swelling shows up, or fatigue gets worse. A 2024 study archived by Johns Hopkins and based on older adults found that kidney function below the usual cutoff showed up in about 15% of people ages 65 to 69, but in 46% of people ages 85 to 89. Read that again in your mind, nearly half in that older age group. That is exactly why yearly kidney blood work matters, and it gets better. That same 2024 study found that 33% of older adults who looked okay on creatinine alone were reclassified when a more sensitive marker called cystatin C was added. Why does that matter? because creatinine can look better than reality in older adults who have lost muscle. Less muscle can mean less creatinine, and that can make the kidneys look stronger than they really are. It is like checking the water level in a bucket with a crooked ruler. So here's the practical move. At your yearly visit, ask your doctor to review your creatinine, your eGFR, your sodium, and your potassium. If your doctor is concerned that creatinine may not tell the whole story, ask whether cystatin C would help in your case. Not everybody needs it, but some people do, especially if the numbers do not match the symptoms. And support the basics at home. If your doctor has not put you on a fluid restriction, steady hydration matters. One banana has about 420 milligrams of potassium. 1 cup of plain yogurt has around 570 milligrams. 1 cup of cooked beans can have 600 milligrams or more. But if you already have kidney disease, do not load up on high potassium foods without guidance. This is where healthy can become risky. Also, be very careful with regular ibuprofen or naproxen use. Those pain pills can be hard on the kidneys over time. I'd love to hear your story. What made you click on this video today? Share in the comments. Let's pump the brakes for a second. I'm not saying this to scare you, but blood tests are tools, not magic. A normal result does not cancel serious symptoms. If you have chest pain, black stool, sudden swelling, confusion, severe weakness, unexplained weight loss, blood in the urine, or constant thirst, do not sit at home comparing numbers. See a doctor, and please do not start taking iron, potassium, or high-dose supplements just because one number looks low in an app. Too much iron can hurt. Too much potassium can be dangerous for the heart. Even biotin, which many people take for hair and nails, can interfere with some lab tests. If you take it, ask whether you should stop it a couple of days before labs. If you take insulin or blood sugar pills, ask whether fasting is safe for you. If you are dehydrated, your kidney numbers can look worse than they really are. Timing matters, context matters. If you already have kidney disease, heart failure, liver disease, cancer, or a blood disorder, your list may be different. That is not failure, that is medicine being personal. The goal is not copying someone else's checklist. The goal is using the fewest tests that give the clearest answers for your body. So you're convinced but thinking, how do I actually do this? Keep it simple. At your next yearly visit, ask one question first. If we only focus on the most useful blood tests this year, which ones are they? Then mention the big three: CBC, A1c, metabolic panel with kidney numbers. If your doctor wants more, ask what decision each extra test will change. That one sentence can save you money, stress, and confusion. Then build a routine around the test, not around fear. Drink water the day before, unless you have been told not to. Do not binge on salty food the night before. Bring a full medication and supplement list. Ask whether you need to fast. Keep a small notebook with last year's numbers. And when the results come back, ask for trends, not just normal or abnormal. If money is tight, combine labs on one day. Use in-network labs if you can. Ask about the cash price before the blood draw. And focus your grocery money on habits that support the three big tests: oats, beans, eggs, yogurt, lentils, frozen berries, leafy greens, canned salmon. Not expensive powders, but real food. Not complicated routines, but repeatable ones. Look, there's a lot of noise out there. One person says test everything, another says never test anything. The truth is quieter than that. You do need blood work as you age. You just do not need to overthink it or overload it. Start with just these three conversations. Ask about your CBC. Ask about your A1c. Ask about your metabolic panel and kidney numbers. That is a smart place to begin. Your body will tell you if it's working. More energy, better stamina, clear follow-up, less confusion. If this helped you, hit that like button. And if you want more videos like this, make sure you're subscribed because we post new health tips every single day. Stay healthy, stay strong.